So I have my giant suitcase in front of me, I have my backpack behind me, and you have to turn a couple times to get up to and I was like stuck, like I could not go anywhere. Hey everyone, I'm Alicia. A couple weeks ago, my husband and I took a train from Chicago to Los Angeles for work. And when we told people, they had a lot of questions like, how long did it take? Or why would you do that? Or how did you sleep? And I realized that there's not a ton of information or people talking about long distance train travel. So I decided to make a video about our experience. First, I want to give a little background information on the train and the route that we took. There are 4 Amtrak trains that run daily from Chicago to the different cities on the West Coast. The one we took was called the SouthWest Chief, which starts in Chicago and runs through Kansas City, Missouri, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, and ends up in Los Angeles, California, with about 27 other small city stops in between. And honestly, watching the changing landscape was a big reason why we decided to take the train in the first place. My husband and I have never been west of the Mississippi in the continental US. I've been to Hawaii once about 11 years ago, but obviously we flew. So we've never seen mountains like that in real life. And we really wanted to experience the changing landscape from kind of the Midwest to the west side of the country. The biggest difference between traveling by train and traveling by plane is obviously it's longer, so you have to book your sleeping accommodations. So the 2 sleeping options are a roomette, which sleeps 2, and a bedroom, which can sleep up to 3, I believe. A roomette is pretty much 2 chairs across from each other with a table that can lay down, and there's chairs fold down into a bed, and then there's kind of like a bunk style bed on top which would fold down. It's pretty small, there's not a lot of room in there. The other option is called a bedroom, and you walk in and it's bigger than the roomette. There's a couch, and then across from the couch there's a chair, and you also have a little sink area. The bathroom is bigger than a airplane bathroom, but not by much. The most frequent question we got when we told people that we were taking the train is, how long are you on the train? And so we left Chicago at about 6 p.m. Central Time on Saturday and arrived in Los Angeles Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time. So if you do the math, you're on the train about 43 hours, which is almost 2 days. So the next question people asked was, what in the world do you do on the train for 43 hours? And honestly, the first time out there, I watched out the window a lot. I thought it was fascinating to look at the beautiful red rocks and mountains in New Mexico, and I understand not everyone is going to want to look out a train for hours on end throughout the day, so I brought some other stuff to do. I brought my journal, I brought a book, I brought my Nintendo Switch because Animal Crossing, and we brought a computer. We still had Wi-Fi server, not Wi-Fi, we still had phone service for probably about 95% of the trip. There was only about 30 minutes in New Mexico when you're kind of winding your way through the mountains that we didn't really have phone service. So the speeds were fast enough to stream Netflix or YouTube videos. So we did some of that. We talked a lot. Honestly, the nicest thing and the best part about the train was just that it's a lot of downtime. It's really peaceful and relaxing, and that's why I'm super glad that we took this trip, because plane travel can be so stressful, especially if you're a little nervous to fly. It's super stressful. So this was a nice reprieve of traveling that way. It was just, you got on and you were kind of on. Another question I got was kind of in the same vein. Are you on the train the whole time, and can you get off the train at all? So the first question is, do you have to change trains from Chicago to Los Angeles? And you don't. It's just one train. You can get on in Chicago and stay on the train and get off in Los Angeles. But there are, I think, 2 or 3 fresh air stops each day that you're there for about 5 to 30 minutes. So they'll let you know when it's a fresh air stop. You can get off, stretch your legs. The next question I got a lot was, what is sleeping like? You know, are you able to sleep? Is it too loud? Is it noisy? Does it rock back and forth? So In the bedroom that we were in, like I said, we had a couch that kind of pulled out into a full-size-ish bed, and then there's also a twin-size bed on the top that's kind of like a bunk bed that just folds down. They do provide sheets and a blanket and a pillow, but I highly recommend, if you're picky about your pillows, to bring your own pillows because they are not the same as at home. As far as sleep quality goes, I would say the first night on both to Los Angeles and back, it was kind of rough. The train moves quite a bit. The whistle goes throughout the night. You know, sometimes you'll hear the whistle, and just I think getting used to that motion of the train moving takes some time. But the second night was better both times. But I wouldn't say either one of them was the best night of sleep I've ever had. Now the food on the train is something that I would want to re-experience once the pandemic is over, because due to COVID, they had changed their dining experience. Normally, you set your dinner time, or actually I think they give you a dinner time, I'm not sure. But normally there's a set dinner time. You go to the dining car and they always seat in groups of 4. So if you're traveling with a party of 2, they'll seat you with another party of 2. If you're a party of 4, then you get your own table. What we experienced, I think, is called express dining, and basically you picked your time for your meal. You told the dining car attendant would come around, ask you what time you wanted your dinner to be ready and lunch between a certain time, and what you wanted off of the menu. And the menu is about, I think, 6 to 8 items that you can choose from. They're the same each meal, and on those items there was 2 vegetarian options and 1 vegan option, which I thought was slightly disappointing, because if you are vegan, that means you're eating that same vegan item for every lunch and dinner. There is a cafe cart for other snacks between meals. Those do cost extra. And I forgot to mention that if you sleep in a roomette or bedroom, all of your dining car meals are included, so those do not cost extra. I don't think I've mentioned the layout of the train. So when you're at the station and they call to board the train, you walk down to the tracks and you find your car number. I believe there's usually 2 sleeper cars, so you find yours, and then your car attendant will be standing outside waiting to check you in. So you tell them which room you're in, which is on your ticket, and they show you where you are. So normally all the sleeper cars are on the 2nd floor of the train, both the roomettes and the bedrooms. I highly suggest looking at the dimensions of the carry-on that they allow, and if you have something bigger than that, then to check your baggage. We were not thinking it would be a big deal. We brought 2 large suitcases because we were going to be gone for 10 days, and we're like, it's no big deal. We'll put it on the top bunk. There'll be room. It'll be fine. Not knowing that you have to carry it up this super tiny flight of stairs. So I have my giant suitcase in front of me, I have my backpack behind me, and you have to turn a couple times to get up to and I was like stuck, like I could not go anywhere. And there's this long line of people behind me. So finally I just had to like pick my suitcase up super high and like push it up this set of stairs. So don't be like me. Check the dimensions. Don't try to bring a giant suitcase up to the 2nd floor. Check it or leave it on the luggage rack on the 1st floor. I did also want to mention that because we are in a pandemic, you have to be wearing your mask the entire time you are in public spaces. So if you have a roomette or a bedroom, you don't have to wear them in there, but you do have to wear them every other time. And all of the staff, your room attendant, the dining car attendant, the conductors, they're all wearing masks and gloves. At least that was our experience. And you have to be wearing a mask while you're traveling throughout. In the bedroom, there is 1 outlet. So if you are like us and you're addicted to your phone, or you have other things that you want to charge, like a computer or maybe a game system, you're gonna want that outlet, that power strip, so that you can plug in multiple things. You're going to want to pack your bag if you bring it in your room so that you have a change of clothes accessible. You are on the train for a long time, so in order to not feel super gross or super grungy, I packed a change of clothes kind of in the front pocket of my suitcase so that it was easily accessible. I do think it's important to mention that you should be tipping your room attendants at the end of your stay. I think it's customary to tip $5 per night per person. If you do book a bedroom or a roomette, you have access to the Metro Lounge in the bigger stations. In Union Station in Chicago and in Union Station in Los Angeles, they both had Metro Lounges that you had access to before your trip. So they had snacks, and it was just a place where you could charge your phone, work a little bit on your laptop if you had to. Traveling by train is kind of like a romantic thing. It's something that we've been doing for a lot longer than traveling by plane, and it's an experience that everyone should have. The courtesy and just the whole experience of Amtrak was wonderful. The staff were super nice and helpful, and I can't say enough good things about them. I don't know if I would always resort to traveling by train because it's not as convenient when it comes to a time thing. It definitely takes a lot longer. I mean, there's no comparison between a 5-hour flight to Los Angeles and a 43-hour train ride from Chicago. Overall, I had a wonderful experience on the train, and I would absolutely recommend that everybody take a long distance train travel through Amtrak, and I can't wait for our next adventure for when we do it again. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys later.